These are Commander cards we got wrong.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, joined by Amber, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. Before we talk about the cards the three of us collectively have gotten wrong in the past, we got to tell you that in the future, you can go to Patreon to give us your dollars. Why would you do that? To make the channel better and to make us eat food every day.
Yes, you would be supporting us directly, and we'll love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. If you would like to get 5% off your next order of Magic cards, you can go to CoolStuffInc.com. And if you go there and use code
NERDS,
and as long as you're using code
NERDS,
you get 5% off your order on your singles, on your sealed product, on your Dragon Shields, which have the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeve, transition.
Yes, you can get them from Cool Stuff Inc., or you can use our EU and US links in the description. All three ways of getting them will be supporting the nerds. Just make sure when you're in Cool Stuff Inc., you use code
NERDS.
And if you're using code NERDS, you'll be supporting us. Dragon Shield is amazing.
Don't forget, there's going to be a Moxfield ad somewhere in the middle of the video. Guess where it is right now, but spoiler alert, you're wrong.
You are wrong. And happy birthday to everyone's birthday is today. All right, this is cards we misevaluated in some way. Whether we thought it was too good or we didn't think it was good enough. There's a little bit of both on this list.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to admit when you're wrong, right? We are fully capable of doing that and just growing and learning and getting better in Commander as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I've reviewed hundreds and hundreds of cards now. Obviously, some percentage of them is going to be incorrect. It doesn't. If I review 10,000 cards, yes, some have to be wrong, even if I'm accurate most of the time.
So let's go to the first one, probably the most obvious one that we kind of messed up on. We have Shalai and Halar. They deal damage when counters are put on creatures you control. And we basically were reviewing this in the ranking of a commander. We had it as the lowest possible commander in the set. Turns out it's not a crappy card that doesn't do anything. It's a crappy card that doesn't do anything, but also it goes infinite with a few other creatures. So we should have given it a higher power rate and probably a lower fun rating.
Yeah, so this card is fine. I mean, this is a +1/+1 counters commander, and it is fairly strong because of its ability to combo off with pretty much one or two other cards. The Red Terror and all will be one. Just go infinite with this card, which does make it a lot more powerful. It still doesn't seem that exciting as a commander, but that said, we did completely miss its power in its combo potential.
Right. It's like if Deceiver Exarch was a legendary, we'd probably be silly if we didn't talk about like the Kiki Jiki combo or something.
Exactly. Yeah. It gives it a lot more power, and also if it had a red in it, so it could
okay. Zealous Conscripts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Great example, BZ.
Yeah. Shalai and Halar, we still hate you, but you do combo, so you're a little scarier. Sword of Hearth and Home is next. This is from Modern Horizons 2. And it's equips, and it gives pro green and pro white and +2/+2. And when it hits, you flicker a creature and you go get a land, and then you put them back both on the battlefield. This card just looked amazing, and it was like, oh my god, it's non-green ramp, it's so good. It's like push through damage and do all this stuff, and we do not play this card anymore.
The fact of the matter is the swords are just not that strong. They're some of the coolest cards ever printed.
Seriously, yeah.
And they do have decent effects. They're not bad. When you can keep connecting with the swords, they do certain things that are very strong. But the problem with swords is 3 mana to play, 2 mana to equip. You've invested 5 mana. Now you have to connect with a player. There's no guarantee that the protection is going to be able to push through damage. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. And then when you connect, then you actually get the value of now the card has done something.
Yeah.
It's just tough. Swords are just all, I think, in the D range, and we graded this like C or C+. I just think swords are fairly weak. Again, I support everyone playing them. They are incredibly cool. They are some of the coolest Magic cards ever, but I just think they're very weak overall. Even like the best swords, like your
Feast and Famine's probably the best one.
Feast and Famine, Swords and Fire and Ice. These cards are still pretty weak overall for the Commander format.
Yeah, and I think we screwed up. Obviously, C was too high for this. I think we compared it a little bit to Sword of the Animist, and it's not that close. Like, oh, it's only one more mana for the same effect, but you get a flicker. It's like, no, not really. You need to do more work. You need to connect. Sword of the Animist is just throws on a stupid token and jam, boom, there's your land. Plus, it's 2 to play, 2 to equip. Obviously, just a way better card, and we don't really play Sword of Hearth and Home in anything anymore. We were just wrong about it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. It's cool, but not very strong. Next, Battle Angels of Tyr. This card is just not good.
I almost feel like we misread this, if anything.
This is a 4 mana, 4/4 flyer with Myriad, meaning when you attack with it at one player, you get copies going at each of your other opponents. And then when it deals combat damage, here's what's really important. If that player has more cards in their hand, more lands, or more life than each other player, meaning any ties result in nothing. And that is the problem with this. If 2 players have 3 cards in their hand, and
or 3 lands,
or have 3 lands, and they're tied for the most, you don't get anything. And that is the problem with this card. This card is I don't think it's like was broken or over the top good beforehand, but I just think it's terrible. The fact that, two players have 7 cards in their hands, I have 3, but I don't get to draw because they both have 7. That is silly, and I don't understand why the card works in that way.
Yeah, this is like the best myriad creature. It's supposed to be the best myriad creature in the set, and it was really good in limited because you just get 3 4/4 flyers, but that's not going to cut it in regular Commander. It's going to dish out some damage, and you'll be fine with it. But I want triggers, and this does not deliver the triggers like it promises to.
This card I think has niche homes. I think like decks like Tristani that can make like token copies of it. So
Giada. This thing just spiked up for some reason to $30. Whatever that was, that's your play in that deck.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this card. I don't like it very much. I don't think it's very strong. I have it in my Giada deck, but it's
just fine. We thought it was good. It's not even that good.
I thought it was like a card that had a bunch of homes. I think it's just like a niche card that goes in a very few decks.
Mm-hmm. Next is a card. I'll say I got it wrong. Joe doesn't feel the same way. This is Jadar, Gold Color of Nephalia. We gave it a 1 out of 10 as a commander in the ranking of commanders for Midnight Hunt. And every time I see this card as a commander or otherwise, it's kind of just really annoying. And it just sticks around, consistently providing that 2/2 Decayed. Every turn, you're going to sack it or attack with it, so you always get another one at the end step. And I think this is just like one of the best commanders in our cube. It's just a headache, and it's really cheap.
I don't really have much to say about this card. I'm kind of still just low on it. I look at Jadar, and I don't think it's a very strong card at all. I'm not saying I'm right about it, and that it's a bad card. It's terrible. But I'm willing
to say I'm wrong about it.
I haven't had the experience that Beezy's had where I've seen this card be good. It still has just looked like poop whenever I saw it.
Yeah, I have multiple times now kind of raised my eyebrows and just gone, why am I upset about this game? Oh, Jadar is annoying me. Jadar is drawing them 2 cards a turn and making a stupid little token to sacrifice. It's pretty good. What about the next one?
It is Endurance. This is 1 green for a creature. When it enters the battlefield, put all the cards from somebody's graveyard on the bottom of their deck. And it has Evoke, so you can pitch a green card to play it for free, and then you sacrifice it afterward. This card we gave a C, middle of the road, but it's just actually really good.
It doesn't even look good. Like, it just looks mediocre. Like, why would I want to do this?
Graveyard Hate is very strong. We've come around. We're playing it in almost every single one of our decks. We have at least one piece of Graveyard Hate, Graveyard Interaction, so that we can slow down the decks that rely on the graveyard a lot. And this card is a free version of that, while being just a 3/4 flash, just a nice creature that blocks pretty well because it does have reach. And then the fact that it casts for free makes it so much stronger. One of the main reasons you don't see this card a lot is it's expensive because of Modern, because of Legacy, where this card sees a ton of play. But it's still very good in Commander.
Yeah, what is there? I don't know the name of it. It's Croson maybe something, but it's 2 and a green for a 3/2 that does kind of the same thing. It shuffles like a graveyard into a library, but that's at sorcery speed. It's not going to get anybody. The fact that this always has flash, whether you're casting it for free or not, means you can kind of blow somebody out a little bit. It still is a creature. It's got decent stats. The reach is nice to have. It just kind of plays way better than it looked, and we gave it a C in the review. And I think it's just better than that, like a B- or something.
Yeah, I mean, this card, this effect can also just win you games. Getting rid of graveyards is a very crucial thing. A lot of decks rely on it a lot, and I literally had a game where I played this, and it was the reason I won. My opponent literally said, like, "Oh man, I had a good chance of beating you and coming back if you didn't get rid of my graveyard with Endurance," which just shows you how powerful this effect can be.
Yeah, play Endurance if you have one lying around. Time for another commander, but this is more of in the 99 or just in general. It's Camber the Plunderer. It's 3 and a black. It's part of a partners with duo, so I think we automatically knocked it unfairly. I don't care at all about Loreen. Sorry, Loreen, but this one says whenever a creature your opponent's control dies, you gain a life and you get a blood token. So already we're like life gain synergy, discard synergy, and I think we kind of had this as like a mediocre card, but I would put it as like an actively good card.
And I mean, all that has to matter for this card to see how good it is now, and that we had it low, and I look at it now, and what I can say is so good about it. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, make a permanent. It doesn't matter what that permanent.
It's an artifact too.
It doesn't matter what that permanent is, and the fact that it's an artifact means it has more synergies with Marionette Master, your Reckless Fire Weavers,
a bunch of different stuff.
A bunch of different stuff. There's so many different cards that this just has so much synergy with. When a creature an opponent controls dies, make X permanent is really, really strong.
Yeah, and you gain a life too, and you can get a lot of value out of this in a lot of different decks.
Yes, and if it's a very strong. And if you want to have it misprinted, get the original printing. The original printing says whenever a creature dies, but she actually is errata to say your opponent's creatures.
Right. So if you have that version, I'm sorry, your card is worse.
Yeah,
you were wrong about Camber.
I definitely feel bad because there are lots of Magic players who don't watch a ton of content. They aren't consuming content. They just went out, they bought this deck,
like they should have, right? Like that
they
was a
built
good reason
it,
to do.
and they kept playing and playing and playing, and then eventually they're just gonna meet someone who's like, oh no, that's not what it does. It's like, but no, look. It's on the card. It's like reading the card explains the card.
They got their Cambers and they got their Hostage Takers and they got their Carpet of Flowers, and they're like, I know what all these cards do. It's like they're literally just worded differently or cool.
Reading the card does not explain the card.
We should maybe do an episode like that where just cards that are just wrong and you just have to look
them up.
They
just don't do what they say.
They just don't.
There's a lot of cards like that.
One card that doesn't do what we thought it would do is Deep Gnome Terramancer. You flash it in, it's 2/2. It looks just like the Archivist of Ogma, except you go get a planes when somebody like cheats a land in a plane and plays an extra land. I haven't really gotten too many triggers off this one.
Yeah, this card is fine. Like, I don't think this card is bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I also don't think it's very good. I think we had it like this high ranking, like, oh man, another
one of the best ones in the set.
It's going to ramp us a lot. I'd rather just in almost every case have my Knight of the Orchid. I'd rather have the Loyal Warhound. I'd rather have these cards that almost guarantee me getting what I need rather than this like medium. Sometimes I'll get it if they have a fetch land or if they cheat lands in play. The card is not bad. I'm not going to pretend like this is a terrible Magic card, but it's also not the staple we thought it was going to be.
It's more in the replaceable white catch-up ramp than the like premium, I'm going to play this all the time in white ramp. Very similar to the next one, which I would say almost the Magic community as a whole kind of got wrong because Smuggler's Share was pre-ordering and settled at about $35 or something for a couple months. And then it kind of seems like as people got to play with it, they're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, Smuggler's Share is 3 mana, and then if a player had 2 lands into the battlefield, you get a treasure on the end stuff. And if they drew 2 or more cards, you draw a card. This card is fine.
It still sounds good, and it just didn't end up working as much.
It really doesn't. I've had this card. I've had it in decks. I actually just cut it very recently from one of my decks. It just is underperformed. It does draw cards once in a while. It does get you treasures once in a while. But it's an enchantment that when it's not doing those things, is literally doing nothing. I like to compare this to the Fairy Mastermind now, which we were talking about before, literally an episode ago or two. Fairy Mastermind is a creature that is attacking and getting in damage, doing little tiny things while it's and then drawing cards incidentally. This is an enchantment that does nothing when it's not getting that effect.
Right. It's cheaper. It's a creature. It can attack. It can block. It literally fuels itself, and it's got flash, and it's just like way better than this. So, Smuggler's Share, no thanks. Maybe I'll try it out, but you really need the cards for this to be. Like, I don't really just want treasures off of it.
Yeah, this next one, Tear Asunder. You exile an artifact or enchantment for 2 mana, then you can kick it to exile any non-land permanent. We just never ended up playing this. I think this is still a fine budget card.
Yeah, we looked at it and we're like, hey, this seems pretty cool. Like, if you are on like a little bit more of a budget or something, and I've never gone to this card for any reason. I've built multiple $20 decks, and I haven't even looked twice at this thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't put it in a $20 deck.
I just haven't. It's just like never the best option, it seems like.
Yeah.
So I almost want to like unrecommend it.
Yeah, it seems reasonable for budget, but we just had this as kind of a playable card all over Commander. It really just feels like it isn't. I think that one in the green, get rid of an artifact enchantment is just not an effect we want. It's like we've built a lot of decks. We've built the $20 budget decks. We've built $50 budget, $100 budget. We built without a budget, and this card just never ends up making it. And I certainly I have not at any point during my Magic building career in the past 9-10 years put one in the green, get rid of an artifact or enchantment. That effect is just, it's not quite the rate I want it to be.
And I also don't play Utter End. And it's like that's the two halves of this. And the versatility is kind of cool. Still just doesn't make it.
Yeah, the idea is the versatility good enough? I'd like to try this on my $20 budgets. I have not built a green-black, like, very cheap deck, but I think on a budget this card will perform.
Mm-hmm. How about the next one?
It is Dauthi Voidwalker. We rated this card a C+.
Let's be clear, we did think this card was good.
We did, but we were definitely also wrong about it because
that's the wrong grade.
This is black. Well, whenever they play anything, it would go to their graveyard. No, it gets exiled under Dauthi with a void counter. Then you can sack Dauthi to play any one of those cards with a void counter for free.
It's a 3/2 with Shadow.
This card's absurd.
It's an A.
This card is an A. This is like an A+. This card is a super staple of the format.
You can play it in any black deck, no problem. I would not even look twice.
Literally.
Yep.
And that's simply how good this card is. We just looked at it and we didn't see it. And like that's going to happen, right? It's like
we're like, oh, this is pretty good graveyard hate. And it's like, no, this is insane.
I also think we try to stay more like very level when we're grading cards. So I think like something like Dauthi, I saw people literally say it was the best card in the set. And I was just like,
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't
Is
think
it?
so. It doesn't seem like the best card in this. I'm like, you're wrong.
There was a lot in that set.
But people were right. This is one of the best. Is the best card set? I don't remember. It's
Top 3.
It's one of the best cards from the set for sure. And like we underestimated it, and that's gonna happen. Like I don't know. I want all the people who are super critical and say that we're always wrong to grade every single card as it comes out, because I want you to, every single one, and I want to see how many you get. You're just gonna get a lot wrong, and we're fine getting it wrong because
I
that's
want to update you. Yeah.
Magic the Gathering is a complex, like ridiculously over the top, especially the Commander format. The game is ridiculous. We are gonna get cards wrong. Anybody who reviews cards is gonna get cards wrong. We were wrong about some cards. We were also wrong in this video right here.
Maybe reality chips in that video. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.